President Reed, Dean McDermott, Dean Parenti, members of the Board of Trustees, officers of the university, deans and vice presidents, guests of honor, members of the faculty, candidates for graduation, and their family and friends. Welcome to the 155th Annual Commencement of Loyola University Chicago for the School of Communication and the School of Continuing and Professional Studies. As we begin, I'd like to draw your attention to the university's land acknowledgement statement on the inside cover of your program, honoring the heritage of the grounds we walk. Now, will everyone who is able please stand as the Loyola Wind Ensemble plays the national anthem. We ask that you remain standing until after Dr. Timothy Sever, Senior Lecturer at the School of Continuing and Professional Studies, gives the invocation.
Generous and loving God, we gather today to celebrate these graduates and to thank you for the journey that has brought us here together. Graduates, you stand on the threshold of a new beginning. Loyola is not a place you go to, but a place you come from. May God, who began a good work in each of you, help you to carry it through as you go forth and set the world on fire and bring these good works to completion. May God also grant you wisdom in your choices and resilience in your commitments. May God stir discomfort in you away from easy answers, shallow opinions, and superficial relationships, and awaken within you a desire for truth, goodness, and love. May God ignite in each of you a passion for justice, equity, and care of our creation. May God give you the courage to know that you can make a difference, though others say it cannot be done, or you cannot foresee the full measure of your impact. To the greater glory of God, amen.
Thank you, Dr. Sever. Will everyone please be seated? It is now my pleasure to present Dr. Virginia McDermott, Dean of the School of Communication.
Thank you, Provost Woods. As we gather to celebrate your achievement, I'm reminded of the impact that storytellers have on our world. Maya Angelou once said, "There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside of you." Today, we honor you, our talented storytellers, for your perseverance, creativity, and dedication to sharing your stories that need to be told. Your Jesuit education at Loyola School of Communication has equipped you with more than just skills and knowledge. It has instilled in you the power to think critically, communicate ethically, and set the world on fire. As you step into the future, remember that your education isn't just for you. It's a tool to serve others and to make a difference in the world. Embrace your futures boldly and confidently. knowing that you have the power to shape the future with vision, justice, and charity. Congratulations, graduates. Now go forth and tell your stories, challenge the status quo, and transform the world through communication. I would now like to present Dr. James Parenti, Dean of the School of Continuing and Professional Studies.
Thank you, Dean McDermott. Good afternoon and welcome, especially to our 2025 graduates. A very wise Jesuit once told me that there are only two words that you want to hear at commencement: your first name and your last name. So I am going to follow that advice, and I'm going to keep this very brief and simply state that everyone on this stage, Dr. Reed, Dr. Woods, Dean McDermott, Father Garanzini, all of the faculty and staff gathered here today are experiencing many of the same emotions of your family and friends that are here with you today. We are incredibly proud of you. Proud of your commitment to your studies, proud of the way in which so many of you have successfully balanced demanding work, family, and student obligations, and proud of how you have grown and developed throughout your time here at Loyola. Today is indeed a moment to take stock of your many achievements and to celebrate. This is the start of many such celebrations, as we firmly believe that you will continue to encounter success in many meaningful ways as you proceed forward with your lives and with your careers. And while you may transition today from student to alumnus, remember that at Loyola, we are always people for others, and that all of us look forward to accompanying you on your journey and celebrating your many forthcoming victories to come, both large and small. Congratulations to each one of you.
Thank you, Dean McDermott and Dean Parenti. With pleasure, I now present Morena Casey, candidate for the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Advertising and Public Relations, magna cum laude, who will offer some remarks on behalf of the graduates of the School of Communication.
Thank you, Provost Woods. Good evening. President Reed, Provost Woods, Dean McDermott, faculty, staff, family, friends, and the extraordinary graduating class of 2025. It is an honor to stand before you today, eager to speak in this moment of celebration. My relationship with communication has strengthened as I've come to appreciate its impact. I didn't truly understand its power until I was 7 years old, stepping off a plane in a brand new country with no ability to speak or understand the language. That was the day I realized communication could be both an insurmountable barrier and a transformative bridge. I vividly remember standing in my first classroom in America, unable to understand a single word. It was terrifying, like being locked out of a conversation everyone else was a part of. In that moment, I came to appreciate that communication is not merely about words. It is about connection, understanding, and power. As I learned to express myself, I realized that communication is the very fabric that shapes our world. It connects us across cultures, communities, and generations. It allows us to share our stories, challenge the status quo, and ultimately create change. Just as communication has been pivotal in shaping my life, it will undoubtedly continue to influence our collective futures as we venture into the world beyond these walls. We have spent years learning not only how to speak, but how to listen, how to engage, and how to make our voices heard in a world that can sometimes feel too loud or too silent. As I stand before you, now let me say this in Albanian, Vajza që dikur kishte vështirësi të gjente fjalët. I just described myself as the girl who once struggled to find the words. I am reminded that every voice matters. In closing, I leave you with a thought from Canadian writer Robin Sharma, who wisely said, "Words can inspire and words can destroy. Choose yours well." Class of 2025, let's choose to inspire.
Thank you, Morena. I would now like to introduce Yvette Garcia, candidate for the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Paralegal Studies, who will offer some remarks on behalf of the graduates of the School of Continuing and Professional Studies.
President Reed, Provost Woods, Dean Parenti, Dean McDermott, faculty, administrators, family and friends, and of course, the Loyola University Chicago graduating class of 2025. My first experience with college was at Loyola, visiting my cousins when I was a high school junior. I felt so lucky spending a weekend on campus while they were attending. Walking through campus, I imagined what it would be to be a student here, but never imagined standing here before you as a first-generation Mexican graduate, earning my bachelor's degree in paralegal studies through the School of Continuing and Professional Studies. Standing here today is a moment I only once dreamed of. My journey to this day has been anything but traditional. As a daughter of a single immigrant mother and a single mother myself, I have faced challenges that tested my strength. I endured the loss of my mother to breast cancer and won my own fight with the same cancer, which brought me back to what my mother and aunt always told me, is that education could change my life. And it has. Studying paralegal studies at Loyola ignited my passion for advocating for those without a voice, for fighting for justice and ensuring fairness in a system that often feels out of reach. Thank you. Thank you, Loyola, for staying true to what you teach us about compassion and community and lifting others as we climb. Each of us has faced challenges to be here. Whether we balance jobs, families, or self-doubt, we made it. As we step into the next chapter, let's carry Loyola's values of service, leadership, and compassion with us and be the voice for those who cannot speak for themselves. Class of 2025, we did it. Now go forth and set the world on fire.
It is now my pleasure to welcome back Dean Parenti, who will introduce our commencement speaker, Mr. Carlos X. Montoya.
Thank you, Dr. Woods. It's a special privilege to welcome today's keynote speaker, not only because of his many professional accomplishments, but because of the deep personal connection he has here to Loyola. He is a proud graduate whose time at Loyola was shaped by resilience, resourcefulness, and moments of grace. Like many of our SCPS students, he balanced very long work hours with evening classes, yet somehow found his way forward, one determined step at a time. Carlos Montoya has gone on to lead major financial institutions and pioneer digital innovation on a global scale. But he also never left his roots. He returned home here to Loyola, first joining the Board of Trustees, contributing to transformational projects across our campuses, and even getting married in Madonna della Strada Chapel with Sister Jean among his well-wishers. His journey is one of faith, persistence, and a deep commitment to community. Please join me in welcoming a proud Rambler, a first-generation college graduate, an honored Loyola alumnus, and a committed servant leader, Carlos Montoya.
This aside for just a second, please. Good afternoon, everybody. Great to see you. President Reed, Provost Woods, Dean Parente, Dean McDermott, faculty and administrators, family and friends, and of course, Loyola University Chicago graduating class of 2025. My name is Carlos Montoya. I'm the chairman and CEO of Ion Digital Corporation, a publicly traded company driving unique innovation in the creation, use, and distribution of digital-based products and services, all with the potential to change what we currently understand about modern banking and financial services. As a Loyola graduate, I want not only to congratulate you, but to extend special congratulations to family and friends who have come together in this, your moment of great achievement in higher education. It's truly an honor and a milestone to feel proud of. As excited as I am for each of you, I'm reminded of the words of wisdom found in 1 Peter chapter 5, where God reminds us not to be excessively prideful, but with the very grace that he also gives us, that we can still be humble and genuine in such special times. So don't be afraid to celebrate, little. Today, I call on you to stay close to this great university, to this great institution. Think about how you can remain a part of a living, breathing Loyola community, not simply by staying in touch with your fellow graduates, your friends, and your colleagues, but to be a greater part of the Loyola family, supporting its broad range of programs and initiatives, and letting those programs and initiatives inspire you, allowing, if you will, Loyola to remain a living, breathing, dynamic part of your life. It was by fate that I ended up in Loyola. Being from California, my car actually broke down out here on Interstate 80 on the way to College of William and Mary in Virginia. So I had to think quickly and come up with an alternative plan. After overstaying an initial visit to the admissions office, I was referred in an act of mercy, I believe, to one Father Ford. After an hour in the Lewis Tower Chapel, he had heard enough and marched me right back to the admissions office where I was admitted on the spot. And in those days, they didn't have internet or fax, so it was subject to getting a copy of my high school transcripts. But look, like many of you, I had to work my way through college. In my first semester, I worked in a Bridgeport junkyard here on the south side of Chicago. I can remember attending my first classes covered with junkyard grease. While attending 4 nights a week at Loyola, I went from working in the junkyard to ultimately repossessing cars for a bank in South Chicago. I remember feeling at the time that my college experience was fleeting and transitory. In that moment, I was not thinking about the greater Loyola mission or of the greater Jesuit mission of faith, justice, service to others, or solidarity with the marginalized. As I plowed through my own undergraduate journey, Loyola indeed offered me that sense of personal institutional prestige that I always dreamt about as a child, although it didn't really seem to me at the time that it would mean much more than that. As I continued through my own undergraduate program, gaining still modest appreciation of the meaning of my education, my focus sort of changed to putting food on the table for my family. By year 2, I was working in a larger bank, and my goal was simply to climb the corporate ranks, one way or another. Through it all, and thank God, it never occurred to me to quit. Once again, as much as I failed to make the connection to the greater Loyola mission, by the grace of God, I was by then working with people in need, unemployed steelworkers and iron workers in South Chicago. The bank was just across the street from where thousands of people had been laid off. Many of those same people became increasingly impoverished due to plant closures and lost opportunity as the years went by. So I was forced to become an innovator, never driven to foreclose or repossess, but more so to help folks who had been hit by hard times, to keep their homes and to keep their only means of transportation for them or their families. With the trust and unique relationships that I was building, I worked my way up through the ranks in banking, ultimately becoming the CEO of Republic Bank of Chicago. And so we took a couple of small branches and ultimately built a multi-billion-dollar regional banking institution. I believe that the difference for me was that I relished not only being an innovator and an entrepreneur, but in breaking down predispositions to anger and loss from dispossession. I will always credit my own parents, both educators, and both the first in their families to graduate from college. They taught their 6 children to show grace and compassion and empathy for the poor and the disparately treated, the marginalized, if you will. My father, once a speechwriter for the great labor leader Cesar Chavez, wanted us to spend our weekends mowing lawns, collecting canned goods and clothing for farm worker children, many suffering from malnutrition and lack of educational opportunity, many of them living in very disparately located labor camps as their parents struggled to make sustainable wages. As I grew up through the professional ranks, I would have to say that the Franciscans of Notre Dame pulled me in before the Jesuits did. I was invited to be on a senior institute level board at the University of Notre Dame. Of course, the accompanied season tickets for the Irish games didn't hurt. I was very proud. I was suddenly very popular in Southside Irish circles. Not long after, I was approached by a group of Loyola board members. Truly great people, well known in the annals of Loyola leadership, who came right out with it and said, "Carlos, you're a rambler. You can act like a rambler." We actually made the Sweet 16 that year, so all of a sudden, hey, I'm a rambler. Not the Final Four, but the Sweet 16. They told me, we've been following your story. We've seen what you've done, and what can we do to help you with your mission? Ladies and gentlemen, this is Loyola University. I literally kicked myself in the rear. What was I doing at Notre Dame? Heck, I can hang out with Irish right here at Loyola. With that, I joined the Board of Trustees. I was honored with Loyola's Damon Award for Achievement, inducted into the Alpha Sigma Nu Jesuit Society, and began giving commencement speeches. This is the most special by far. And invited on a journey to Rome. It was stunning to be in Rome, and I have to say, now having written these remarks prior to the Easter Monday death of the Holy Father, may God rest his soul. But there I was, mere feet away from Pope Francis, the first Jesuit pope, on an official visit to the Sistine Chapel, touring later the lower catacombs of St. Peter's Basilica, and capping off with a visit to the Loyola Rome campus, where a new student housing facility was being built. As an executive member of the leadership of the trustees, I was able to participate in decisions involving the construction and development of the Quinlan School of Business, a magnificent building in the Water Tower campus, the redevelopment of the Gentile Arena, and the amazing Center for Translational Research and Education Laboratory at the Medical School campus in Maywood. Why had I not been more involved with Loyola before that? Ironically, one of the greatest rewards was in discovering Madonna della Strada Chapel, which I had never even knew about during my years at the Water Tower campus. Like so much else at Loyola, it would later prove to be an important place for me. It's where my wife and I got married, with Father Garanzini, Loyola's president at the time, presiding. My wife, Eve Rodriguez Montoya, is here today, accompanied by our wonderful niece, Loyola freshman Mariah Rodriguez, who served as a young ring girl on our wedding day. Things come full circle. Of course, one of our most cherished gifts that day was a gift from Sister Jean. And we had a wonderful reception with a rock band and all in the Cudahy Library. In closing, I want to say to you, as you look back and you think about the hours that you've invested, given it all in order to realize this great achievement, wherever God may take you next, always think about what you can do to stay involved. That is, to stay more connected with this great university. The very university that honors you today. I was once just simply happy to graduate, leaving myself with no vision of how the Loyola family would ultimately change my life in so many ways. I hope that it changes yours, and I hope that you'll remember some of this when you are busy going through life, and by God's grace, achieving great things along the way. As history taught me, your Loyola family will be here, waiting patiently and hopefully for you. Congratulations, graduates. Congratulations to the families and all those who supported this great accomplishment of yours today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Montoya, for your thoughtful and inspiring words. The candidates for master's degrees from the School of Communication will now be presented. Dr. Virginia McDermott, Dean of the School of Communication, will make the recommendations to the President, who in turn will confer the degrees. I would like to invite President Reed and Dean McDermott to the podium.
Will the candidates for the master's degree from the School of Communication please rise? President Reed, I have the pleasure of presenting to you the candidates for the degrees of Master of Communication and Masters of Science. The candidates have fulfilled all the requirements for their degrees, and I recommend that the degrees be conferred upon them.
Candidates, upon the recommendation of the Dean and the faculty of the School of Communication, and by the authority granted to Loyola University Chicago by the state of Illinois, and delegated to me by the Board of Trustees, I am pleased to confer upon you the master's degrees for which you have been recommended. And as a sign of your new academic status, please put on your hoods. Congratulations.
The candidates for master's degrees from the School of Communication will now come forward as directed by marshals to be recognized by name. Dr. Ashley Geisiger, Assistant Dean of the School of Communication, will read the names of the graduates. Friends and families, please remain in your seats and hold your applause until all the degree groups have been recognized so that each candidate's name may be heard by their family and loved ones. Guests are not permitted on the arena floor or near the stage. Professional photographers are taking photos of the graduates, and these photos will be available to you in the coming days. Thank you for your cooperation.
Receiving the degree Master of Communication in Digital Media and Storytelling, Lorenzo Baceda. Kennedy Ewald. Margaret Ryan Plecha. Anissa Sheely. Sephora Rocha. Teus Stevens. Danielle Edith Williams. Receiving the degree Master of Science in Global Strategic Communication, Rachel Alt. Igor Battisti. Natalie Collison. Minal Diman. Sam McCormick Ludicky. Georginia Ohalete. Satori Tannen. Lauren Avery Wade. Congratulations, graduates.
The candidates for baccalaureate degrees from the School of Communication will now be presented. Dean McDermott will make the recommendations to the President, who in turn will confer the degrees. I would now like to invite President Reed and Dean McDermott back to the center podium.
Will the candidates for the baccalaureate degrees from the School of Communication please rise? President Reed, I have the pleasure of presenting to you the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Arts. The candidates have fulfilled all requirements for their degrees, and I recommend that the degrees be conferred upon them.
Candidates, upon the recommendation of the Dean and faculty of the School of Communication, and by the authority granted to Loyola University Chicago by the state of Illinois, and delegated to me by the Board of Trustees, I am very pleased to confer upon you the baccalaureate degrees for which you have been recommended. And as a sign of your new academic status, please move your tassels from the right side to the left side. Congratulations.
The candidates for baccalaureate degrees from the School of Communication will now come forward as directed by marshals to be recognized by name. Dr. Ashley Ann Geisiger, Assistant Dean of the School of Communication, will read the names of the graduates. Candidates who have not yet been taken out of their rows may be seated again. As a reminder, guests, please remain in your seats.
Receiving the degree Bachelor of Arts in Advertising and Public Relations, Vianney Alfaro. Rachel Bowen, magna cum laude. Dominic Bazinet. Abby Queso, summa cum laude. Christina Caston, magna cum laude. Mara Kathleen Collins, magna cum laude. Louisa Cruz. Henry Curtis. Jenna Cutter, summa cum laude. Mia Elise Mawani Dart. Ava Doherty, magna cum laude. Haley Dean. Misha Donley, cum laude. Delaney Maeve Duffy, summa cum laude. Natalie Dwyer, magna cum laude. Sarah Filardo. Alan Theodore Ford III. Sophia Elena Gamundi Acra. Nathaniel Gobb, magna cum laude. Kelly Granis. Henry John Guzzi, cum laude. Blake Harris. Mercedes Daniela Heatland, cum laude. Salma Isa. Morena Casey, magna cum laude. Daniel Kellstrom. Claire Coppy, cum laude. Allison Marie Cruz, magna cum laude. Austin Richard Krizik, magna cum laude. Grace Victoria Kuhn. Bassett Edward Levy, summa cum laude. Juliana Logley. Elizabeth Grace Loomis. Andrea Lopez Malo, magna cum laude. Emily Louise Bear Luft, cum laude. Gianna Nicole Mangini, cum laude. Kathleen Callahan McPherson. Isabella Nordstrom, summa cum laude. Sullivan Ngozi Stevenson Awoku. Lily Pennell. Mila Vukelja Patricio. Sonia Peterdetsky Makahoen, cum laude. Alex Pyczynski. Regina Pachaki, cum laude. Madison Poole, magna cum laude. Rebecca Quiroga. Oliver Rich, summa cum laude, interdisciplinary honors. Bridget Reynolds, magna cum laude. Lewis Edward Richmond III. Myra Lynn Riley, cum laude. Avery Nassif Robbins, magna cum laude. Lauren Rachel Ropp. Olivia Scarpati. Nicholas Paul Schulke. Clarissa Valentina Seelan, summa cum laude. Connor Simpson. Erin Keeley Timmis. Lauren Rose Travers, magna cum laude. Cecilia Voss, magna cum laude. Ikra Wadood. Rebecca Yu, cum laude. Receiving the degree Bachelor of Arts in Advertising Creative, Mariana Chavez Jimenez, magna cum laude. Jaden Craig, cum laude. Nora Mary Kania, summa cum laude. Christopher Thomas Finn. Anna Flynn, magna cum laude. Evelyn Brovelli Hurley, summa cum laude. Liam Charles Martel, summa cum laude. Annalise Claire Petrelli, summa cum laude. Receiving the degree Bachelor of Arts in Advocacy and Social Change, Hannah Spencer Foley. Destiny Jackson. Helen Vivian Klosk, cum laude, interdisciplinary honors. Analia Morris. Natalie Sawinski, cum laude. Sylvia Zupfer, magna cum laude. Receiving the degree Bachelor of Arts in Communication Studies, Analia Rebecca Acosta, cum laude. Anna Isabella Alterio. Charlotte Bakey, magna cum laude. Genevieve Bretsch, summa cum laude. Ethan Burfield, magna cum laude. Michael Cabezas. Margaret Ann Conway. Isabel Ann Draxler, magna cum laude, interdisciplinary honors. Kelly Grimsley, cum laude. Courtney Alexis Groves, cum laude. Bing Han, cum laude. Zoe Holland, summa cum laude. Harriet Renee Holmes. Jane Husky. Kennedy Irene Jones, summa cum laude. Sienna Jovicic. Colleen Rose Kehoe, magna cum laude. Kaylee Licadini. Lisa Luddington, magna cum laude. Maxwell Eli Mercer. Aaliyah Polk. Alana Pollard, summa cum laude. Cullen Rooney, summa cum laude, interdisciplinary honors. Dylan Barrows Russell, cum laude. Camden Shukaski, magna cum laude. Kayla Skurin, magna cum laude. Joseph J. Smith. Grace Catherine Summons, magna cum laude. Senia Torres Ricci, cum laude. Cecilia Meredith Van Zyl. Grace Wallace, magna cum laude. Benjamin Donald Watkins, summa cum laude. Des Watson. Charles Zajac, cum laude. Receiving the degree Bachelor of Arts in Film and Digital Media, Alora Dannon Bolthouse. Ariana Breyer. Callista Elena Cardenas, summa cum laude. Ava Chandler, magna cum laude. Dakota Christopher Clower. Audrey Lorraine Cunningham, magna cum laude. Milo Fu, cum laude. Jillian Josephine Green, cum laude. George East Gustafson. Jacob Habib. Aman Hassan, cum laude. Ariana Elizabeth Michaelis, cum laude. Danielle Mickens. Greta Dare Miller. Brendan Parr. Ethan Petalinghug. Connor Christopher Rayhill. Liam Jeffrey Smart. Aaron Gerald Summerness. Justin Bryant Turner, magna cum laude. Alexander Wade Van Ness. Liam Lorenzo Waller, cum laude. Stephanie Wilkie, cum laude. Receiving the degree Bachelor of Arts in Multimedia Journalism, Holden Nicholas Green, cum laude. Cooper Hopcraft. Gustavo Azevedo. Grace Olivia Johnson, cum laude. Nate Kehoe, cum laude, interdisciplinary honors. Joseph Albert Neese II, cum laude. Juliana Larson, summa cum laude, interdisciplinary honors. Carolyn Lingen, cum laude. Jessica Lynn Martens, magna cum laude. Elizabeth Maxwell, magna cum laude. Madeline August McCullough. Leslie Elizabeth Morass. Madison Michelle Mudd. Ella Munley. Nicholas Michael Newmeyer, magna cum laude, interdisciplinary honors. Nicholas Pilato, magna cum laude. Victoria Liza Palmieri. Marissa Panella, summa cum laude. Maya Renfro, cum laude. Misha Mast Reynolds, magna cum laude. Olivia Siganuk. Mia Pfeiffer Thompson, summa cum laude. Raven Nicole Walters, magna cum laude. Glenna Wethington, summa cum laude. Rachel Wexler. Congratulations, graduates.
Congratulations to the class of 2025 graduates from the School of Communication. The candidates for master's degrees from the School of Continuing and Professional Studies will now be presented. Dr. James Parenti, Dean of the School of Continuing and Professional Studies, will make the recommendations to the President, who in turn will confer the degrees. I would like to invite President Reed and Dean Parenti to the podium.
Will the candidates for master's degrees from the School of Continuing and Professional Studies please rise? President Reed, I have the pleasure of presenting to you the candidates for the degree of Master of Arts, Master of Professional Studies, and Master of Public Policy. The candidates have fulfilled all the requirements for their degrees, and I recommend that the degrees be conferred upon them.
Candidates upon the recommendation of the Dean and the faculty of the School of Continuing and Professional Studies, and by the authority granted to Loyola University Chicago by the state of Illinois and delegated to me by the Board of Trustees. I'm so pleased to confer upon you the master's degrees for which you have been recommended. And as a sign of your new academic status, please put on your hoods. Congratulations.
The candidates for master's degree from the School of Continuing and Professional Studies will now come forward, as directed by marshals, to be recognized by name. Dr. Annette Steinecker, Director of Urban Affairs and Public Policy Programs, will read the names of the candidates. As a reminder, guests, please remain in your seats.
Lower. Receiving the degree Master of Arts, Public Service Leadership, Dominique Alvarado Gonzalez. Alonzo Green. Kimberly McCullen. Sammy Clifford Pack, Jr. Anaye Jasmine Pettis. Receiving the MA in Urban Affairs, Barbara Ariana Garcia. Eliana Lillette Hannon. Receiving the Masters of Professional Studies in Instructional Design, Rayzun Haynes. Margaret Ozan Rafferty. Uriel Robeles. Franciscus Ruiz. Receiving the Masters of Public Policy degree, Hanan Abdelehe. Noah Coletti. Madeline Gordon. Molly Maeve Lusk. Stephanie Ujelic. Congratulations, graduates.
The candidates for certificates from the School of Continuing and Professional Studies will now be presented. Dean Parenti will make the recommendations to the President, who in turn will confer the certificates. I would now like to invite President Reed and Dean Parenti back to the center podium.
Will the candidates for the certificates from the School of Continuing and Professional Studies please rise? President Reed, I have the pleasure of presenting to you the candidates for these certificates. The candidates have fulfilled all the requirements for these certificates, and I recommend that the certificates be conferred upon them.
Candidates upon the recommendation of the Dean and faculty of the School of Continuing and Professional Studies, and by the authority granted to Loyola University Chicago by the state of Illinois and delegated to me by the Board of Trustees. I am pleased to confer upon you the certificates for which you have been recommended. Congratulations.
The candidates for the certificates from the School of Continuing and Professional Studies will now come forward, as directed by marshals, to be recognized by name. Marie Harrigan, Director of the Institute for Paralegal Studies, will read the names of the candidates.
Receiving the certificate, Introduction to Data Science, Malene Fontes Narana. Receiving the certificate in Public Affairs and Management, Mallory Wesley. Receiving the certificate, Corporate Practice and Paralegal Studies, Hiral Patel. Michael Joseph Prendergast. Ariel Tempest Vance. Receiving the certificate, Litigation and Corporate Practice and Paralegal Studies, Kiara J. Harris. Shana Quashel Humphrey. Alexa Patricia Yashurer. Adam Wong. Receiving the certificate, Litigation Practice and Paralegal Studies, Gina M. Charles Nelson. Ambre Kristen Dicek Valentino. Mylene Ariel Flores. Tien Nguyen. Monique Avalia. Mary Elizabeth Pistorius. Tiffany Rios. London Nicole Bryant. Congratulations, graduates.
The candidates for baccalaureate degrees from the School of Continuing and Professional Studies will now be presented. Dean Parenti will make the recommendations to the president, who in turn will confer the degrees. I would now like to invite President Reed and Dean Parenti back to the center podium.
Will the candidates for the baccalaureate degrees from the School of Continuing and Professional Studies please rise? President Reed, I have the pleasure of presenting to you the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Arts. The candidates have fulfilled all the requirements for their degrees, and I recommend that the degrees be conferred upon them.
Candidates, upon the recommendation of the Dean and faculty of the School of Continuing and Professional Studies, and by the authority granted to Loyola University Chicago by the state of Illinois and delegated to me by the Board of Trustees, I'm very pleased to confer upon you the baccalaureate degrees for which you have been recommended, and as a sign of your new academic status, please move your tassels from the right side to the left. Congratulations.
The candidates for baccalaureate degrees from the School of Continuing and Professional Studies will now come forward as directed by marshals to be recognized by name. Dr. Ava Micah, a clinical associate professor in the School of Continuing and Professional Studies, will read the names of the graduates. Candidates who have not yet been taken out of their rows may be seated. As a reminder, guests, please remain in your seats.
Receiving the degree in the Bachelor's of Applied Psychology, Harris Jebick. Elizabeth Fenton Dickerson. Yvette Garcia. Gabrielle Nicole Hall, cum laude. Nicole Hansing, summa cum laude. Hepsi Citali Hernandez. Beverly Ruth Hughes, cum laude. Bonnie J. Parrish. Erica Lynn Richard, magna cum laude. Cassandra D. Smith, magna cum laude. Cooper Stahl, magna cum laude. David Andrew Tanner, summa cum laude. Raven Monet Turner. Receiving the degree of the Bachelor's in Applied Studies, James Rollins Pilar III. Receiving the degree in the Bachelor's of Information Technology, Sukali Onyongo. Zitali Soto. Receiving the degree in the Bachelor's of Management, Nicholas Bowen, cum laude. Receiving the degree in the Bachelor's of Management, Shannon Even. Philip S. Franco, summa cum laude. Carissa Marie Cobell, magna cum laude. Cody Ladd, cum laude. Elise Luis. Lorena Marrenquis. Tatiana Meza. Gabrielle O. Nitko, magna cum laude. Jennifer Salas. Jonathan Sims, cum laude. Anastasia Bezugili, accepting the degree in the Bachelor's of Paralegal Studies. Alexander Stephen Grady. Terrence Lamar Marshall. Mariana Miskiv. Rose Strauss. Margaret M. Wimp. Congratulations, graduates.
Congratulations to the class of 2025 graduates from the School of Continuing and Professional Studies. To all of our new graduates today, you are now part of a global network of nearly 200,000 Loyola alumni who lead with purpose, serve with compassion, and inspire with every action. Your time as a student may have come to a close, but your lifelong connection to Loyola is just beginning. From this day forward, you will always have access to a vibrant alumni community, career and mentorship opportunities, and meaningful ways to stay engaged through events, volunteerism, and service. We look forward to celebrating your achievements, whether it's reaching career goals or making a difference in your community. We hope you always find meaningful ways to stay connected with Loyola University Chicago. We can't wait to hear your stories, champion your successes, and welcome you back for Alumni Weekend in October. Congratulations. I would now like to invite President Reed back to the podium to offer his closing remarks.
You can tell we're near the end of the day, right? You can tell. Good evening, class of 2025. And on behalf of the faculty, staff, and the entire Loyola University Chicago community, I offer you my heartfelt and deepest congratulations on this special day. And graduates and everyone gathered here today, I ask that you join me in a special recognition, because joining us today and seated to my right is the 23rd president of Loyola University Chicago, our president emeritus, Father Michael Garanzini. And those who have attended Loyola in the last few years, you have been the beneficiary and enjoyed a lot of things on all of our Chicagoland campuses. And if you've ever been to our own campus, there too. Because most, if not, well, I'll just say most of the university's buildings were either built or renovated during Father Garanzini's tenure, in addition to a host of other very good things. So Father Garanzini, thank you for honoring us with your presence. Now, I will say this, that years from now, and dare I say minutes from now, few, if any of you here today will remember the current president of Loyola University Chicago who spoke at this graduation ceremony. So if you're going to be forgotten, do it quickly. I just have a short story for you, which I think is appropriate given the week that we are having in the world. Last May, in the Vatican Apostolic Palace, I was part of a Loyola delegation that enjoyed a private audience with Pope Francis. In his thoughtful and inspirational remarks to our group, he encouraged us, quote, to be witnesses to hope in a world often marked by division and conflict, end quote. Pope Francis said that the role of academic institutions is essential to educate and to form what he referred to as diligent dreamers. His call to action was clear and direct, and again I quote him, "We need men and women who are ready to put their skills at the service of others, to work for a future in which each person can achieve his or her potential and live with dignity and respect, and in which the world can find peace." And as I have the honor to confer the degrees upon our graduates and to stand here and greet every graduate as they come across the stage, what comes to mind for me are diligent dreamers, because that's what you are, and that's what this world and we need you to be. So as you exit the arena today and go on to what's next, think about Pope Francis's words, and also remember that you are always loved. We at Loyola love you. Your parents, your family, your friends, they of course love you too. And don't forget that God loves you as well. Thank you, and once again, congratulations to the class of 2025.
Will our graduates please rise? It is now my privilege to invite Alyssa Beeson, College of Arts and Sciences, class of 2026, to lead the community in the Loyola University alma mater. Alyssa will be accompanied by the Loyola Wind Ensemble.
And I messed up. So before we hear this wonderful rendition of the alma mater, stay right there, stay right there. Graduates, sit down again. Everybody else, please stand if you are able. This is the interactive part. You'll forgive me, this is the 5th of 12 ceremonies this week. I'm bound to make a few mistakes. But I invite everybody gathered here to join me in a special blessing upon our graduates. And I invite you to extend your hand and read along the blessing that will appear on the screen. Let us pray. May God bless you and sustain you on this your graduation day. May the creator of this vast universe keep you safe as you go forth from this place that has nourished your mind and your soul. May the Almighty look down upon you and give you success in all your endeavors, courage in all your struggles and challenges, understanding in all that is new to you, wisdom to choose what is right and do what is good, perseverance in all you undertake, serenity and peace in the knowledge that you are not alone, that you are loved. May the Lord of all look kindly upon you this day and forever. Amen. Congratulations, graduates.
Okay, graduates, stand up. Alyssa, come on out.
Hail to you, all praise to you, Loyola, Loyola. Voices strong, our alma mater, hail. Sons and daughters everywhere, Loyola, Loyola. Pledge to you our love will never fail. So we rise to honor you, Loyola, Loyola. God be with you, our alma mater, hail.
Thank you, Alyssa. And also, let's thank our talented musicians. Let's give them a round of applause. We ask that the audience please be seated until the recessional from the stage and the graduates have left the arena. Following the recessional, please join the graduates for a reception on the West Quad.